Menteri Rangba ke Jylla Konrad ke Sangma haka arhui terik naiwing ula Plie ba ya ke tamasa Tri Hills Ensemble haka jingedon lang Menteri ke Tenan Arts and Culture uba polling do bat uhe sorkar na Wales cha India Mitchell Thacker hapo usoso tham auditorium Shillong. Kani ka tamasa ka balai bala penlong haka Jylla ka themu ban pen isya ka pyrthei ya ke jingri spa haki kamshna bat thankti bat haka kolshor jong kilai tali ki kenhun jai benriu ke Jylla kata ki khasi jantia bat garu. Kani ka tamasa ka dei ka jingle ke men ya ka kolshor ke jongi ka imlang saklang bat ki beriu jongi. Lingba kani ka tamasa ngi themu ban pen isya ka pyrthei ya ke jingri spa ke Jylla bat ka jing itu ya ke jinglong kerpang ki beriu jongi au Menteri Rangba haka jingkren. Habakren halor ka jingkong san jong ka kolshor UCM ulaong ka kolshor ka donya ka bor ka bakraw na mar ka penia so yang ngibat ka menor bat ka tenrai ka jongi bat ka bapenia pher yang ngi na ki weipan kum ka wei na ki bor ngi persyang kum ka sorkar bat penden kam ya ka di ka spa na ka benta ki jing tumugi batei UCM ulaong ru ba ka sorkar kala pentri kam ya ki sin jam ban aimen sim ya ka pateng ka bamenta bakin sngau sarong ya la ka jong ka kolshor bat ya ki jing pher na ka wei ka than sha ka wei pat hapo ka Jylla. Ula pentip bakal asnai ki program ki ban kentiu ya ka kolshor ki jing shna bat thankti ka put ka tem ka thok ka tar bat halor ki jing tep shaphang ka telong ka jing start jing shaphang jong uberim baja. Ngi kwa baki beriu jong ngi kin sngau sarong na ka benta la ka jong ka kolshor ka riti dustur ka rukom rukom bet bat haka ketien ka thlid ula benram. Ula pertoru ya ka Tenan Arts and Culture halor ka jingshim ya ki sinjam ban penkeladur ya ka Captain Williamson Sangma Museum bat penslur ya ka tenat bakan pendenkam ya ka teknologi na ka benta ban kentiu ya ka jingsham phang ka bakhamba halor ki benta bat ki jing ba pher jong ki beriu hapo ka Jylla. Ki jing yalang bat ki tamasa jong ni ki rakhe ya ka jingriu spa jong ka Jylla ula penpau. Ula kenturu ya ka tenat pule puthi ban penlong kongsan ya ki jaka pule bakin yalam ya ki khna syakani ka museum bat bantip syaphang ka jinghiar pateng ka beriu spa jong ka Jylla. Habakren halor ka Chief Minister's Research Fellowship Program ula ong basan phongut ki riu syampang ladep banjit bat kilaya syakmat ban penkrek ban bu jing tho ya ki mat ba pher ki badan jing ya dei bat ki beriu kumju bat ka kolshor ka Jylla. Ka jinglong jongi ka dei ka kolshor jongi ka jing sarong jongi ka long ka badan kam bangin pen i bat penek pensa ka jing start jong ki department jongi hakiliang ba pher bat ban ra ya ka syaka kerdan ba pau khmat ha ka pyrthei. Haka ni ka sngi UCM ula pelaj ru ya ka web portal jong ka Arts and Craft Village bat ban penbenar ru ya ki jing ai khusnam bat jing itu ya ki riu pau khmat haki kerdan ba pher.
Culture is also our knowledge. Our traditions are our knowledge. And today, if you look at the world, there's so many things happening. And sometimes we don't realize that our forefathers had the wisdom and the knowledge that today's world sometimes cannot even imagine. Because they have seen it through years and centuries and decades and come up with certain practices for a particular reason. And this knowledge, this culture and tradition, that knowledge that we have, the tribal community that these knowledges that we have, are actually in some ways solutions to the current problems we face. Our traditional medicine that we have, the different practices in terms of preserving our environment, whether it is to have, our sacred groves in the forest, whether it is to have the natural root bridges that we have. This is knowledge. This culture and tradition is knowledge. And we must ensure that we share this with the world. The world needs to know what the Khasis, the Panars, and the Garos, what traditions we have, and the knowledge that we have, the knowledge that our forefathers have had, and share it with the world. Culture is a means to connect with the rest of the world. Today, here, we have our representatives from Wales. We have Mr. Mitchell and his entire team. We never imagined that we would be able to connect, and as Paul has beautifully put it, and how he has connected the entire history of the fact that at that time the Welsh had come and connected in terms of the language, the culture with us, And in spite of all the difficulties and hurdles we faced, that connection that was made because of the culture remains even today after centuries. And that is the power of culture. Just last week we had our cherry blossom program and festival. And there was a huge area that we had dedicated to the Japanese government and the embassy and all different individuals, artists, musicians, entrepreneurs, different people from Japan had come and they had connected with our people from Meghalaya. And this has been happening for the past 5 years now. And we are seeing this kind of activity where a lot of connection is being established, bonds are being established, and most importantly, the trust is being established between communities, between our state and our people and other nations. And I think this is the power that culture has. And therefore, I hope that we will be able to continue this. And I really thank the Welsh government as well as the embassy and our principal secretary and obviously our minister who have ensured that we continue this process of building this bond and building this trust on the basis of our culture. Culture is tourism. I'm so happy to see today that we have been able to really promote our tourism through involving and activating and engaging with the tourists through culture, to showcasing what Meghalaya has to differentiate us from the rest of the country and rest of the world. So the huge potential that we have in terms of allowing the rest of the world to see what Meghalaya is and to be able to become part of our culture, our traditions, which would then promote our tourism, is a great strength that culture has. Feel our culture, not just see it. And therefore, technology should be used more and more in these kind of museums. And from the government side, I assure you that we will give 100% support. And I would like to see these museums not just here, but in other parts of our state also. And as I said, from the government side, we would like to support this completely and improve the overall museums that we have. And I would want schools, colleges, I would want the education department to make it mandatory for students studying in certain classes or certain courses at certain levels, to make it mandatory for them to come and visit and learn about this, because this is being done, as I said, to remind our youngsters, especially in today's generation when we have so many things happening, so many distractions in life. I think it's important to ground ourselves, connect ourselves, as Bapal says, to our roots. And these museums are a very important part of that. These festivals are a very important part of that. I remember, and I'm sure all of you remember, that I had announced last year also that we are really keen to document our cultural aspect, our language, and the different historical facts about our people and our state, and that I was going to announce a research program. So I'm very happy to inform all of you that that has happened with the support of our Art and Culture Minister and our Principal Secretary. Today we have the CM's Research Fellowship Program, where close to 50 researchers from different parts of the state are being funded by the government of Meghalaya, by the Art and Culture Department, to research on different aspects of culture, document it, and keep it as a record, because we have seen that we are good at a lot of things, but if there's one thing we're not good at, is at documenting our information, keeping records. And in today's world, it is much easier than before because there is digital support, there's technology. So I do encourage that as we move forward, the Art and Culture Department should focus more on this research, make it even more wider, and involve many more researchers. And I would like to see that we would have collaboration between different institutes to be able to take this research and this information to a much, much higher level. Time as a state government, we somehow have not been able to take this strength that we had, this power that we had, we're calling it soft power, but we have not been able to really take it forward in the way that it should have been. Our speakers before us, before me, have spoken about how we have tried to promote culture. And some of you who have maybe visited this program for the first time may feel that it's about organizing festivals. But it is far beyond that. It's much more bigger than what meets the eye. Culture is our identity. Our traditions defines who we are. It connects us to our history, to our people, to our past, and allows us to be able to distinguish ourselves in one way from the rest. And therefore, from the government's point of view, we have been very, very clear that we want our young generation especially to be proud of our culture, of what we are. I don't mean to negatively say anything about any, particular community, organization, or individuals. But sometimes we've seen that, we have people who talk about tribal culture and look at it in a very negative way. And it sometimes impacts our young generation. And sometimes they feel that they don't want to connect to who they are. My message to the youngsters is, we want you to feel proud of who you are. You should feel proud of the history that we have. And we want you to celebrate this. And we want you to always remind yourself about this culture as well as the history, and what Bapal today has spoken reflects about how our culture and our people have been through great challenges and difficulties, and yet till date we have managed to maintain this identity of ours. And I would want to see that this moves forward and carries on. And that's why, whether it is the museum, I was so happy to see what Ba Frederick has done today with the museum, his entire team in fact, and our team from St. Anthony's and others who are involved in really defining and making the Captain Williamson Sangma Museum, which really was not as engaging as we would have wanted it to be, but we are seeing it transform today.
Unending week of celebrations of the tribal spirit, and just yesterday we concluded the 3-day Shillong Tree Festival, the 4th edition, which has attracted a lot of traction, and with footfalls that have crossed 15,000 in 3 days. And at the end of yesterday's session, we had an interaction with the government of Turkey. Today, we're here with our friends from Wales. Just a month back, we had a similar interaction with Korea. I share this joy to say that there is clear evidence that today Meghalaya has gone global with its soft power. And it's a major, major achievement. Our friends from Wales may not have known this, but I can tell you that 2 years back, when the Euro Cup was being played, and Wales had taken part in one of the matches. Before the start of the game, the Welsh team sang their national anthem. And a friend of mine sent me a WhatsApp message saying, why did they copy our national anthem? Hasi sang to the tune of the Welsh national anthem was written by Dr. John Roberts, who was considered the father of Khasi literature, while Thomas Jones, who landed at Sora on the 22nd of June 1841, was considered the father of the Khasi script. I think there is nothing short of the divine. To think of Meghalaya with the two major indigenous tribes, the Khasi Jaintias and the Garos, to have survived thus far, being a community, two communities who on the north are bordered by people of a different faith, a different way of life. Mainland India, which today is the leading population in terms of, globally, the country with the largest population, and to the south of us, Bangladesh, with an altogether different faith and way of life, the 8th most populous nation on earth. And for us, a tiny population that is yet to touch 40 lakhs, to have survived the test of time, the ravages of history, is nothing short of a miracle. So today we celebrate that spirit, and as we initiated today's ceremony by pouring water drawn from various rivers of Meghalaya to give life to the saplings, let us recall that a tree, however majestic it might look, needs roots. No people can survive if it doesn't have a past, doesn't have a history, doesn't have a culture. One basic difference between the living trees that we can see all around us and the Christmas tree that we put up in our homes is that the Christmas tree doesn't have roots. So at the end of 2 weeks, it is removed. But the rest of the foliage around us survives because it has roots, it has the soil to grow on. And it is our responsibility to ensure that we keep watering that soil, keep nurturing the saplings, and let the rest of the world see the beauty of what Meghalaya has to offer.